Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 24th of February, comes to you from London. I'm back from Singapore and Australia, and it's quite cold in the UK, so it's a bit of a shock to be back into this freezing temperatures. And today, of course, is the 1 year anniversary of the war in Ukraine. So we'll take a look at what's happened since then in terms of energy markets. But first of all, just looking at the broader markets, and we see here that a mix of colours on the screen. And so we'll just run through. Normally we cover the currencies first, then stock markets, global indices, and then we look at commodities last of all. So looking at the dollar index, looking at the weekly chart here, this is the weekly cloud, daily cloud, and the 60-minute cloud. So this gives me a long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market, remembering that weeks means months, days means weeks, and hours means days. Those are the time frames that we're looking at when we look at the charts, and these are the corresponding point and figure targets. So first of all, we see that the dollar bounced on that cloud support, and we've seen the dollar just really recovering off that 100 level. 105 was a previous floor, likely to become resistance, so certainly a level to watch. We do have upside targets here on the dollar to 105.84 and then 109, and we've pulled back greater than this target on the medium term chart. So for the moment, the dollar is just hitting that support level, and will probably just trade more sideways now for a little while until we see any change in the cloud cross. But for the moment, the dollar has found support. That means the euro, having nudged the 110 level, is now coming back to 105, 105.80 at this morning, looking more bearish on the short term. We've got a target a 1.5% lower there. So that's quite key for the euro. Sterling just struggling to hold this 120 level, just holding it at the moment, but really looking weaker against that stronger dollar and hitting cloud resistance there. So what we saw of cloud support on the dollar is cloud resistance for sterling, and just could not get through that 125 level. So it'll be interesting to see if we cross the cloud. We've got a downside target back to 116, so that's going to be quite interesting as well. And against the euro, sterling sitting fairly static at 113.50, has really traded around this area for quite some time now. If we look at the chart, it's mostly sideways, little in it between the euro and the sterling rate. Bitcoin sitting at 23,800, having really risen to hit that 25,000 mark, just can't get above there. We do have a new upside target to 30,150, which is activated on the 0.5% chart, and a new target to 32,000 on the 1% chart, but we need a move above that 25,000 to activate that. And in the short term, we've got some downside targets, so that's certainly one to watch. The Nasdaq sitting at 12,180. We are in a bear market for tech stocks. Remember, this weekly cloud crossed last year, and ever since we've been in that territory, that is favouring the downside. We do have upside targets, this one not yet activated. We've got another downside target, 4% lower. If we see a move lower, that will be activated, and we are short-term bearish below the cloud. And if we look at the futures today, the S&P future is down 1/3%. The Nasdaq E-mini is down 2/3% at 0.6%. So we're down 1/3% on the S&P and down 2/3% on the Nasdaq. So the market looks set to open lower, and that will potentially activate that short-term downside target. So we are seeing any recovery in this bear territory has been punished pretty quickly to the downside. So we are bearish short term there as well. FTSE future did break that. FTSE market did break that 8,000 level. The future is up slightly this morning, but if we look at other markets in Europe, the DAX is down very slightly. The CAC 40 is up 0.2%. Little change in Europe. Really waiting for the US. Asia was quite interesting. We had Japan up 0.66%. So again, looking to hold that cloud, a very different chart from what we saw with the US indices. We are holding that long-term cloud chart there. The Hang Seng was punished. We're down 1 2/3% there, so that's still in a bear trend. And if we look at China, we were down nearly 2/3% here as well. But this market is starting to look like it might cross the cloud, and we've got upside targets there, so that's also quite interesting. The Sensex was down 0.2%, holding on to that cloud position on that long-term chart, and the Aussie market was up 0.3%. So again, just pushing high higher there. Now looking at gold, we'll look at the energy mix in a minute. Looking at gold falling back to 1821, that's really putting the medium-term trend under pressure, so really quite interesting there. And we have got on that short-term chart quite a lot of downside targets there, around 1% lower, and we've even got one to 1693, which would take us not only through 1800 but through 1700 as well. But we'll watch these targets and watch for any new upside targets. If you're trading these things shorter term, you need to be looking at the shorter term charts, which will change more rapidly, of course. US 10-year yields, we talked about this on LinkedIn the day before yesterday, and we saw here how we really have moved back up to higher levels, deactivated that downside target, which we talked about on LinkedIn. We've got a new upside target to 5.26%. That's a 35% increase in the yield if we go above that 395 level. So we're just having a little bit of a pullback here, but if we go higher, we activate that target to 526. So that's really quite significant. And we've still got these upside targets hanging over us, 398, 399, so 4%, and then 1 to 421. So that 4% level now is looking pretty likely. We'll take a look now at the energy mix. We've got Brent Crude, first of all, looking just that little bit better, just crossing the cloud on the price. Target's not so clear here, so it's a bit of a mixed picture. We went out as neutral to clients today on crude oil, primarily because we just haven't got the targets to tell us what's going to happen today. US nat gas, though, we were more bullish. We've got this upside target on the 1 minute chart to 77.90, so that's quite sorry, 246, and that's what we're looking for. It's been quite a roller coaster for gas prices, having just nudged below that $2 mark, but we are still in that short-term bullish territory. Emissions, all eyes have been on emissions this week. That €100 mark created a lot of news. We've really got two levels now, 96 and 100, and we go through 100, we're bullish. If we fall below 96, we're bearish. We've got a target here to 101.20 on the new 1 minute chart this morning. That's a new target, so that's looking more bullish, and this trend is very much up. Remember to look at our emissions report where we gave the medium and longer term targets, levels that most people just would not believe. And here we see TTF also crossing today. We called that bullish, and NBP up 3.4%. Also just starting to look better, and we've got a new upside target there activated. If you're trading gas, you need to keep an eye on those 1 minute charts. Last of all, we'll look at German power, and that's up this morning as well on the EX, and we see here we're just pushing that bit higher. We've got a target there to aim for, so energy markets having a stronger end to the week. That's it for today. Until Monday, happy charting. See you then.